Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about the upcoming event Collector's Vault. Now, for those of you that already know about it, you're probably all losing your collective minds. So I'm here to explain it to people that don't yet understand it, people who think they understand it but don't, and finally, people who are really upset about it and why you shouldn't be. But before we do any of that and before we explain everything, I do want to let you know that as of this video, the Collector's Vault is not live, but it will be live about 1 hour before or 1 hour after I start streaming at my regular time slot on Twitch. And I will be streaming tonight in a few hours, and I will be streaming Marvel Future Fight, and I will be live streaming the entire Collector's Vault event. So if you want to see it firsthand, if you want to possibly see me win, probably see me lose, and we'll talk about why, then hit up twitch.tv/Cynicalex and be there for the entire event. And thank you to those people who are there anyways. Now moving on to the actual Collector's Vault event. Now this is a brand new event. We've never seen this before in the game. It includes brand new items that we've never seen before in the game and a brand new way of possibly getting those items. So everything here is new. Now just a pro tip, or not even a pro tip, just a common sense tip. When any game introduces something new, especially when it's an event and something that can just be taken away very quickly or edited very quickly. I mean, this event is only live for 2 days. It's not really a good idea to hit the panic button because 99 times out of 100, 99% of the time, the company, in this case Marvel Future Fight and Netmarble, they're trying to test something new and they're trying to see if we like this. So if you don't like it, wait until it happens and then voice your opinions and your kind of displeasure and explain why. But just getting upset because you don't think it's what you want right away before you've even tried it really doesn't give the people who are making the game and making the event, it doesn't give them a lot of information. I mean, the outrage does give them some information. Maybe, okay, the general sentiment is people don't like gambling or they don't like the RNG, the amount of RNG in this event. That is helpful, but you know, insulting, threatening to quit, saying that this game is garbage or this game's going to shut down, all that kind of stuff, and I've seen plenty of that on Reddit and the new forum, unfortunately. All of that stuff, even on Twitter, is so useless, and it's just negative garbage, and you're basically just upsetting yourself and then upsetting people that might read it and get upset. So yeah, I would strongly reconsider against that. So I'm kind of reserving my ultimate judgment until after I've competed or whatever, participated, whatever you want to call it, in the Collector's Vault. But the way that the Collector's Vault is going to work is it opens twice a day, so it'll open a total of 4 times over the next 2 days, on the 12th, or I guess on the 12th, and on the 13th, so it'll open 4 times, twice per day. And it'll open at a specific time. So for me, it is, I believe, 8 or 9 p.m. I don't know the new daylight savings time garbage. I believe it would be still 8 p.m. if they've adjusted this for daylight savings time, 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. Every single day. So I'm going to be able to participate in it both times, but right away, just as an example, this is something that you could complain about, or this is something that does make sense to voice your opinion on, because this negatively affects people who are in a pretty suboptimal time zone. So for example, if it happens at, let's say, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. for you, because you live in a different place of the world, 1 a.m. you're already asleep, 1 p.m. you're at school or you're at work, so you can't really participate effectively in either of them. And it gets even worse, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., right? None of those times actually work out. And then for those people that have even after work, 5 p.m. and 5 a.m., they're only available for one of those rather than both. In my case, I'm pretty lucky. 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. are both pretty reasonable times. I think probably 9 a.m., 9 p.m., and 10 p.m., 10 a.m. are probably the best by far, and Bacon agrees. But otherwise, I do think this is something that needs to be changed immediately. And this is something that should be looked at, that it should not favor people in certain time zones and punish people in other time zones. I mean, even for people in Korea, this is pretty bad in terms of the actual times that it's available, so think about that. And so basically the way that the Collector's Vault works, again, I don't know exactly how it works, but from the reading and from my understanding, when the time is up, when the time kind of goes live, immediately you will have access to the Collector's Vault, but only the first 1,500 people who get into the vault will be eligible for the vault. So it's basically a first come, first serve type situation. You have to have, of course, your connection there live. You have to be in the game waiting to go in. almost like you're standing in line to get into a club or get into a concert, and then you just got to click faster than everyone else. We've had limited time events that were, or limited time sale events, I should say, where they had, a really rare item on sale for a very low crystal cost. And you had to be one of the first 2,000 people to get it. Those used to go by. I mean, this was 2 years ago, or 2.5 years ago, when the game was still pretty new. You had to be there within a minute. So in less than 60 seconds, all 2,000 would be sold, and those were for crystals. This is a free entry into an event that we don't even know what it's like. So I imagine it's going to fill up in 10 seconds or less. I'm not even kidding. I imagine 10 seconds or less. Why they're doing such a small number of entrants at first, I don't know. This is also something that should be changed in the future. I don't even have to play the event to know that 1,500 is too small of a number. I mean, if there are even 150,000 players playing the game, it's such a small fraction that are going to get in, and I know for a fact there's way more than 150,000 people playing this game, so you're talking about less than 1% of the player base that's even going to be able to get in to the vault. I mean, you haven't even won anything yet. You've just gotten in. So I think at minimum they should allow 10 times as many people to get in. 15,000 people should be able to get in. That's a more reasonable number compared to the number of players playing the game. I mean, they should at least allow 5% of the players to get in at any one time, whichever number is bigger, whether it's 15,000 or 5%. I imagine 5% is bigger, but I don't want to speculate on the absolute numbers of people playing this game. It's probably at least 500,000, if not more, at any given time. So you can do the math based on that, but that is just my first opinion. So once you are among the first 1,500 people to get in, I mean, if you're not, just go ahead and play the game your normal pace. You've lucked out. You've unlucked out. But if you do luck out and you do get in as one of the first 1,500, you'll be presented with this page, and from there you'll be able to choose, and you have to choose damn fast, which of the 4 vaults you wish to enter. You can only technically enter one vault. I mean, probably technically you can enter more than one vault, but the speed at which the vault is going to close means that you won't be able to back out and go into a different vault. I mean, theoretically. So my advice to you, again, just based on what I've read, not on what I've experienced, because I've never tried this before, I would just ahead of time choose which vault you want to enter. The grand prize is there on the front page of the vault, so if you really want a mega rank up ticket, enter this vault. If you really want a mega mythic uniform ticket, enter this vault, and so on and so forth. And once you enter that specific vault, you will have your grand prize there, and you will have a bunch of prizes that are randomly selected down below. Each prize is on purchase for 50,000 gold. So this is kind of just a random assortment of items that you can purchase. And we've got, Nornstones of Chaos, Nornstone Selectors. We've got some rare tier 3 materials. We've got extreme obelisks, and we've got other stuff. Now, I'll just say right off the bat, almost every single item I can see is well worth 50,000 gold. Probably the only thing that may not be worth it, of course, to most players is the Nornstones, the Dimension Debris, the Gear Up Kits, and possibly the Type Enhancements / Urus and ISO. But you can even argue that some of these may be definitely worth the 50,000 gold. So you're looking at the vast majority of items being worthwhile. And so what happens is, randomly, as you're purchasing them, when you purchase one, presumably that square that you purchased it on will be replaced with another random item. So you could click, for example, the black antimatter, and then when you purchase it, it gets replaced by something else, and that could be another gear up kit roll, or it could be a Chaos Nornstone or something like that. And you're basically just purchasing like a mad dog until you find the boxes or the kind of icons that have this purple thing in the corner. You want to buy the ones with the purple corner immediately, because those correspond to the 4 kind of slots here at the top that are grayed out, because these are kind of the memento items, and I don't know if these are confirmed or they're supposed to represent the best items that you can get from the entire list, or if they're just 4 randomly chosen mementos. But once you've purchased all 4 of the mementos, and they only appear once each, as you can see, it refreshes and it doesn't have the purple corner anymore. Once you've purchased all 4, it will unlock the final prize, and then you'll be able to either purchase that or you'll just get it automatically for free. So hypothetically, and again, hypothetically, the minimum amount of gold that you would have to spend is 200,000, because you purchase one of the memento items each if they all appear at the same time, if you happen to get, god luck, and then you'll get a free item from this for 200,000 gold. So if you look at it that way, one lucky person eventually may be able to pull one of these items for 200,000 gold, which is insanely cheap, and that is fantastic. Not only to mention the fact that so many of these items are well worth 50,000 gold. For all of those people who have complained over the months that CCF is too difficult to get, well, if we are to believe these amounts, they're going to be giving you the opportunity to get 60 cosmic cube fragments for 50,000 gold. That's insane value. I can't even describe the value on that. 60 CCF is worth probably at least 500 crystals. So you're paying 50,000 gold for the equivalent of at least 500 crystals. It's bonkers. However, keep in mind, only 1,500 people are going to get the chance to purchase these in the first place. And that's why my second complaint was that not enough people are allowed to enter. But I do think that this is a really good way of giving out some rare items for gold. And so even if you don't win this, I mean, imagine you completely ignore the mementos and you just purchase the CCF every single time. You could end up, in the time it takes someone else to unlock the final item, you could purchase 600 CCF. Imagine you spent 500,000 gold, you spent a couple of minutes playing, and you got 600 CCF. People really focus on the grand prize, and they really focus on the RNG aspect, and they really focus on the luck, bad luck part of things. But what if you're not really there for the ultimate item? What if it really doesn't chuff you to not get one of these, but instead you want to come away with 10 extreme obelisks for 500,000 gold? That's bonkers. And so there's more to this than just the final item. But of course, people are going to whine, they're going to complain about the final item and what they want and what they don't want. And then that's where things get kind of dicey. Because once someone gets the item, once the vault has been, once the memento items have been completed and the vault has been kind of wiped clean and captured, and then once you've gotten that final item, from the sounds of it, it locks the vault for all players. So it's basically a mad race to either buy the item that you want or buy items until you get 4 mementos showing up, and then buy those 4 mementos in order to get the final item. Now, everything is worth gold, so obviously this is a gigantic gold sink. You shouldn't go into it with less than 5 million gold, because that's only 100 attempts, and you're probably going to go through at least 50 attempts if you're just spamming. But I would imagine that people with much more gold are going to be attempting it, so just keep that in mind. But I would say everyone has an equal shot of getting in. All of the people that have complained about this being a whale event or this being an event for paying players, I mean, this doesn't really make any sense at all. Everyone has an equal chance of entering. Everyone has an equal chance, presumably, because VIP level doesn't affect it, to get mementos. So there's really no benefit to being a paying player versus not. The only benefit would be if you've saved up more gold. And I know plenty of whales who have hundreds of millions of gold. And I also know plenty of free-to-play players or very low-spending players who are like VIP 3 or 4 or 5, who just don't spend a lot, and so they have 100, 200, 300. I've seen screenshots of 600 million gold from someone with just a few VIP levels. Maybe you don't want to believe it, maybe you just don't want to accept it because you don't know how to save, because you always spend your gold on everything, and you're also low VIP, so you feel like they're picking on you. But really, it's just you. It's just you, man. It's not everybody. So please try to think about and just talk to people. Just straight up talk to people, because I talk to people all the time. And it's really not the way that the people who are complaining, it's really not how they make it sound, where this is just an event for certain players or for super rich or the 1%ers of Marvel's Future Fight or the people in the top 16 alliances or whatever. Now, of course, the biggest controversy is going to be, and the one I've kind of avoided until now, is the CTP of Veteran. And we've made a video about the CTP, and for better or for worse, apparently, all of the damage numbers and all of the stats and all of the boosts that were translated from the Chinese server are correct. They are accurate. So this CTP of Veteran is real. Now, I have my doubts that this CTP is actually going to be the best CTP in the game. So I do want you to take that into consideration. If they're not going to boost the cap for ABX, this is not going to be better than a Rage CTP because it's a 150 damage increase, which is not even as good as the 200 from a CTP of Energy. The chain hit is better, but that's about it. It's got a lot of PvE and PvP stats, so it does seem like an extremely balanced and a multi-talented CTP, and it has the most different number of stats and options. So yes, it's extremely powerful, but I just want to point out that we may be entering an era where there are, you know, this CTP of Veteran is the best for these characters, but then the CTP of Rage is the best for these other characters like Captain Marvel, and then the CTP of Energy is the best for these other characters, and you have more of a specialization rather than a one CTP trumps all. Because for a while now, the CTP of Energy has pretty much dunked every other CTP besides, in some cases, Authority and Destruction for PvP. Now we have a bit more balancing. It does push the weakest CTPs down even more, i.e. Transcendence and Patience. So it would be nice to see them rebalance those weaker ones and give them one extra stat just to compensate for that fact, and they can always do that. But I'm not terribly worried. I'm not going to hit the panic button over this potentially being too powerful, because we really have to see it in action before we come to that conclusion. We also panicked about the CTP of Rage, and it doesn't seem to be breaking things besides creating a lot of identical scores in ABX, which we've already covered in a video. The only other thing to note is that you cannot obtain the CTP through the selector. So they've obviously made this and want to make this even more exclusive than the CTP of Rage and Regeneration. So my guess would be that if you're holding on to the CTP selector from the Ant-Man Legendary Battle, you can probably spend it now on the Regen or Rage CTPs. We're probably never going to get, or it's probably going to be a long time, and we'll probably get another CTP selector before we get another CTP to kind of trump the Rage and the Regen and the Veteran, and that is actually available through the CTP selector. So I wanted to cover this prior to actually experiencing it, just to see how some of my observations and speculations about this event, you know, whether they pan out and I'm correct or I'm wrong and I've kind of misinterpreted the results. The best case scenario would be that this vault is open for a set amount of time, and even if you lose out on the memento item, you can keep purchasing things up to a limit. So we'll have to see just how it works. It may be nice, for example, if even after the item is purchased, rather than leaving the vault open indefinitely for the full hour, they give you a 60-second window which you can start to spam purchase and then pick up some more of these items, rather than just immediately booting you out. Again, this is the first iteration of the vault, so what I encourage you guys to do is just watch and participate, gather your thoughts, gather your observations, criticize it in a constructive way, and then express those things on the official forums, on Twitter, on the Facebook group, on Reddit, rather than just, dumping something into the ground before you even tried it and then completely killing what could actually be a really good event. I mean, if they give us a way to semi-reliably farm CCF and other rare materials on, a once-a-week type basis when the Collector's Vault opens, that could be a really cool way to kind of offset some of the negative RNG associated with playing World Boss Ultimate for days or weeks and not getting any CCF drops, not getting any from World Boss booty boxes, etc. Is it fair that only 1,500 players get to participate in one go? No, it's not. So we do have to address that. Is it fair that the vault opening times are pretty balanced for North America and some parts of Asia, and then pretty shit for most of Europe and South Africa and Africa and the Middle East? No, it's not fair. So the number of participants and the vault schedule absolutely need to be changed, but we need to address that in a bit more of a professional way, and hopefully I can help you with that. So let me know what you guys think. Hit me up on Twitch later on tonight for the actual vault action. Whoop, wrong one. Subscribe if you enjoyed the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tonight. Take care.